And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day, committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, health, nutrition, and over 80 categories of consumer advocate content, helping you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder, if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show is for you. We're going to help you win. Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone. It's very important. Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. You can call or text that number with any questions, comments, concerns. We want to help you win in any marketplace.
Baby, don't forget my number.
Let's go around the horn now, make our introductions. Back in studio, Abraham Moussa, Total Title Solutions, and Abe's Place. Welcome back in, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be back. Thank you very much. We got a little subject about talking life after closing today.
Life after closing, avoiding some of the mistakes that people make, and there's fraud in that space as well in real estate. We'll talk a little bit about fraud and ways that you can protect yourselves and your loved ones. Also in studio, MJ Martinez, CEO, Advantage PI.
AdvantagePI.com, Advantage Unlimited Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigator.
That's right. Yeah, long career as well in law enforcement, so can definitely help you with any of those types of related activities.
Yeah. We're out here to help people as best we can. We're kind of a triage unit, if you will.
Yeah, that's right. And lots of applications when you think about in private investigation, lots of applications for that. We're going to dive into some of the different ones. You got corporate applications as well as the most identifiable is family-related type activities. But MJ Martinez, private investigation expert on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to help you with anything that you're facing. We want you to think about this show as the hub of your financial and business and health wheel. Each spoke extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the entire Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled and we've vetted to help you win. And what we're going to do is give you that helicopter view of the marketplace, providing you the timely truths centered around a lot of different areas. And we're not going to give you that media spin that you find out there, go against the nonsense out there in the mainstream media. And we want to help give you that helicopter view, make you more street smart is our goal. We want to help you with that. And we want to talk a little bit today and help you call an audible with Peyton Manning here helping us with that audible. And what you talk about is setting standards and raising your standards. And when you look at personal development, and you look at maybe goal setting. Here we are into Q2 now. We've already went through January and we had that goal setting time of our life. And hey, I'm going to do this. And what happens is sheer will, the will to do it, runs out after a little bit of time. But what happens is your habits are thousands of times more powerful than sheer will alone. And what Tony Robbins, one of my mentors, talks about is raising your standards. So if you are a product, your business is a product of your standards. Your physical body, when you look in the mirror, is a product of your standards. So if you want to raise your income, raise whatever area of your life you want to improve, you've got to raise your standards and turn your shoulds into must. A lot of us have a lot of different shoulds. I should do this. I should stop smoking. I should change that. But we got to change those shoulds into must and get off of what Brian Tracy calls someday I'll. So many people are stuck on that someday I'll start reading more books. Someday I'll stop smoking. So you look into those different areas, and that's what happens. And unfortunately, we have these different things that happen in life, and we have distractions. And here's what happens is, number one, is that most people have a story. And family members will sometimes say, oh, yeah, I feel so sorry for you, and I'm so sorry that he did that to you. But what happens is you got to let go of that story. The sooner you let go of the story and you move on to setting those goals, setting action items, and looking at it as a ladder. One of the best acronyms or metaphors I've seen is a ladder. So each step up that ladder is a small incremental step that you can reach, that you can accomplish. You can make 10 more sales calls a day. you know you can have small incremental improvements every day. And then the top of the ladder, that might be your 5-year goal. That might be the big, hairy, audacious goal they talk about, right? So small incremental steps daily are going to help you move closer to that goal. So that's your tips from the day. Raise your standards, set your goals, and reach every day. So whatever that dream is that you have it within you to accomplish that dream. All right, so that's your quarterback tip for the day, your motivational minute here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And this segment is brought to you by Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora on beautiful St. Pete Beach. Now, this is the first new hotel built on St. Pete Beach in decades. Spanish ancestry meets cool Mediterranean attitude. It's a whitewashed Mediterranean palace with expansive luxury suites overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. They've got rooftop yoga on the weekends, and you also have the Castile restaurant. We're going to have a call in today from Paul James as well. He's the GM of the Castile restaurant, as well as Paul Romero, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing with the Hotel Zamora in beautiful St. Pete Beach. Now, if you want to book a staycation, make sure that you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you, and you're going to get a 15 to 20% discount off your room stay just by giving them the REQB code. So we really appreciate you doing that as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it, Abe. Abraham Moussa here in studio.
Well said, motivation minute. That was well said. You gave me the chills.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm going to get out of here and do something today.
Yeah.
No, thank you, really. Sometime we need a reminder every now and then. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's dive into the real estate world. And we covered a lot of topics over the past few shows that we've been here. But one of the topics that doesn't really get covered much is what happened after closing. When you really think that you close your deal, you sign the paper, you exchange keys, all good. What happened after closing? Well, there's a lot of things that happen after closing. Our job begins to where now we make sure you have a legal ownership of that property, and we paid off your mortgages by recording all that stuff in a county record. So what happens sometimes is there is a hierarchy how you record these documents, and there is some diligence to actually do the job and do it well. But in most cases, there is, let's say you have two mortgages on, as a seller at the time, you have two mortgages on the property. Awesome. We paid off the first one. The second one was a small one. We paid them off as well. And then the second mortgage does not record the satisfaction in a public record. Although we paid the money on your behalf, nobody's asking you for the money. You go out to sell the property now as the new buyer. You have to want to sell the property, and years later it says, whoa, wait a second, there is still a cloud on this title. Well, why is that? Well, there is another small mortgage on there. Well, we know we paid it off. It's been paid off. Now the hunt comes back to where, okay, let's find this lender, make sure they recorded the satisfaction. In my company, we have a department that's all they do is literally record those satisfactions and force the lender after 90 days to say, we paid you that money, you need to give us the satisfaction. If not, we quote some Florida statute, I don't know what the heck it is, but my lawyer told me what it is, and we have it in writing, and we record that, we force them. So basically, there's no cleanup when you do it with my company afterward in that matter. But what I've been seeing lately, and it's a lot, and this is why we encourage everyone to do what we call prelim searches, so you know what the property, what's going on with your property. So what we're seeing is all these loan modifications that had been done in the past, decade, when the market crashed. Well, there's some of it that's coming back to haunt you. So some of the lenders, the big lenders, have done the loan modification, but they didn't bother to actually satisfy that loan modification in public record. So technically, that money is still out there, or that title is still clouded. Say, well, you owe us that money. So they recorded the new mortgage, okay, but it's still the old one is still outstanding. So what we're having to do, we're having to go back, track the lenders back, track all the notes, go into everything else, and get them to satisfy that mortgage or that loan modification, and then we'll proceed to close. So sometimes it's taken us, depends on the lender size. Sometimes it takes us 60 days, but sometimes it's taken us 6 months to track. If this was a small lender, it's taken us a long time to track that satisfaction, so we are able to sell your house. So basically, all I'm saying is for the professional out there, once you get the listing for that house, get a search on it, see what's hidden in that closet. It will save you abundance of time in closing.
Yeah, absolutely, Abe. when you look at these big banks and you see that they have these multiple departments, they've got a loan modification department, all the, think about the numbers that they're doing. So it's important that you work with a local title company here. Total Title Solutions is our expert contributor here today, Abe Moussa, and they're going to go the extra mile. They're going to make sure that these things don't happen, because I just closed a deal where we had to go back and clean up some other mistakes that were made from a different company, and it was chain and title, and there was a legal description that was wrong, and so those types of things can cause significant delays. It took over a year to close this deal, and it was literally probably closer to a year and a half. But those are the types of things we're going to help you with here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we've got our expert contributors in studio and on the phones. We're expecting a call from Paul Romero and Paul James from the Hotel Zamora and the Castile restaurant, beautiful St. Pete Beach, as well as in studio, we've got MJ Martinez. He's our private investigation partner. And you just heard from Abraham Moussa, owner of Total Title Solutions, as well as Abe Place. So stay with us. Do not touch that dial. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show. Also the owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Featured in Florida Realtor Magazine, Top Agent Magazine, The Business Journal, and others recognized for our innovations with marketing, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Got a hot listing out in East County here I want to let you know about, 2606 North Valrico Road in Seffner. Attention builders, developers, anyone looking to put up some beautiful property here. It's a $1.79 million offering, and it's 84 acres that's zoned for ARGPD as planned development. So it's a beautiful property out there. And just around the corner, we also have another property at 11515 East Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's on a 6-lane highway with minutes to access to I-75. Just got a call on that this morning about potential car wash opportunities, somebody that's a land buyer for car washes. But yeah, great opportunities here. I want to remind you our website, consumerqb.com. You can find links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled, we vetted, and we bring on the air to help you win in any marketplace. So consumerqb.com. We want you to lock that in your browser, as well as our hotline, 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline, 670-7372. That's REQB. So we're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio. In studio today, we got Abraham Moussa, president of Total Title Solutions, as well as MJ Martinez, Advantage PI, private investigation partner. But we're going to go to the phones here. On the phones, we've got Paul and Paul James and Paul Romero, the Castile restaurant, as well as Hotel Zamora. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah, so what's happening down in beautiful St. Pete Beach?
Oh, same stuff as always, really. I mean, it's beautiful, one of the best beaches in the world. And I just want to introduce Paul James. He's the new general manager of the Castile restaurant, and we're very excited to have him. So here's Paul.
It's great. It's great to be wanted. I'll tell you that much.
Nice.
This is so. I'm so excited to be here. I literally got off the plane from Vegas 2 days ago. First time I saw the hotel was last month when I spent the weekend and interviewed and got to meet everybody and see what this was all about. I literally was overwhelmed with how beautiful this place is, and I moved cross country for it.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great story. What is some of your culinary background?
Well, I've been doing this, I don't want to give away my age. I've been doing this since I'm in diapers for 31 years.
Okay.
So in my career, I have owned 3 restaurants, in New York, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. Have spent the last 12 years on the Strip in Vegas, mostly with MGM Resorts and Wynn Resorts.
Nice.
So I got to work with literally some of the world's best chefs, all those top chef masters, and got to see some of the best culinary people in the world, learned a lot from them, and we pleased a lot of guests together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Working with Steve Wynn and his organization. Wow, that's the Rolex of all Rolexes there, right?
It really is. It really is. You talk about my late great dad would say that's a real feather in my cap. Working with Steve, he's an incredible genius.
Yeah.
I thought I was an incredible genius until I met him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tony Robbins talks about a story where he bought an $86.9 million painting, and he called him up on his birthday to come take a look at it, and just the excitement around that the Wynn organization is really interesting.
Did you hear the story about the $30 million painting that he put his elbow in?
No.
Yeah. Steve Wynn ruined his own painting. He didn't have anybody to yell at.
Oh, man.
Bad day.
That's a bad day, yeah. Oh, man. So if you just joined us, I'm Brandon Rhymes. I'm your host. We're talking with Paul Romero, the Director of Sales and Marketing for the Hotel Zamora, as well as Paul James, he's a GM of the Castile restaurant. So tell us about the restaurant. People, I think one of the misconceptions, too, is people don't have to stay there to be able to enjoy the beautiful food. So I like to put that out there first point. So you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell us a little bit about the menu.
I will. The menu is just really fun. It's basically a Spanish Mediterranean French infusion. That sounds maybe intimidating, but it's not. Again, I told you about some of the best chefs in the world I got to work with in Vegas. Well, I am blown away with what Zamora has here in Chef Nick. He's He's everything you'd want I mean, this guy could be a Michelin-starred chef if he chose to go that route. What I really love about Castile is the food is exquisite, but it's an absolutely fun atmosphere. You know, where the atmosphere isn't as elegant as his food, and that's exactly the kind of atmosphere I want to be in.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds great. And yeah,
we do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We do brunch on the weekends. I mean, Chef Nick is just so he's like me, and again, it's why I'm here. He wants to make it happen for the guest. He's always got he's got a smile on his face. He enjoys what he's doing. His crew is outstanding. It's really I hope they don't hear me say this, but it's an honor to be with these folks here at Zamora. The atmosphere is tremendous. You know, we have so much going on, not only at Castile Restaurant, but we've got a rooftop bar, Anthony, that I've never, ever seen a view in my life. The way our sunsets are like you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, it's not just for our hotel guests. In Vegas, quite frankly, the restaurants were packed 98% with people who were staying at the hotel. Not here. I see literally as many locals as I do hotel guests, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned the rooftop, the 360 lounge on the rooftop. I think it was just voted top 3 on the whole entire the eastern seaboard of the United States. I think Paul had mentioned that last time, or John maybe, last time they were on the show.
Yep, that is a fact, and we're very excited and proud of that. It's very exciting stuff.
I mean, it's just awesome. And again, maybe, you know, I'm a New Yorker. I've been in Vegas. I've been out west for 13 years, 12 of those years in Vegas. And I got to say, so I've seen a lot of cool stuff. You know, so to come here and to be blown away by a boutique hotel with its views, with its service, with its ambiance, with its food, I'm blown away. I love it.
Hey, I'm sold.
Come on in. We'll have a drink or 3 together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and one of the cool things, too, I really love about the boutique style is just that, you know, you get to know the names of the folks there. They get to know your name. You've got the Intercoastal Waterway there as well. So if you're a boater like me, I love to get out there on Freedom Boat Club on the weekends and take the boats out. You can dock up. We've seen some big ones out there too, Paul. We've seen some 40-footers. I think is one of the last ones I was talking with Elvis and the guys out there. You know, so you big boats pulling up, hanging out by the pool, the hot tub, the bar downstairs. So many things to do. You got the beach cruisers as well. If you want to take a little beach ride, there's multiple bikes, 6 or 8 bikes, I believe, that you can take for a bike ride over at the Hotel Zamora on beautiful St. Pete Beach. It's so many things to do there, Paul.
Yep, absolutely. We also have the kayaks, the paddle boards. So just drive your boat up, head this way, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, Anthony, I have to say, you know, I just have to be really honest here. You know, unfortunately, all the things you just said are true, you know, with kayaks, and we have, you know, the beaches and the Gulf and the pool. And, unfortunately, somebody has to do it, and I'm going to be that guy who I may not have an awful lot of time to spend doing technical computer work. I'm going to have to be out there intimately with my guests who pull up with their boats, who come into my restaurant. If I'm forced to have a glass of wine or one of our signature cocktails with them, I'm going to do it. So, I mean, that might aggravate me a little bit, but I'm going to have to do that stuff.
Above and beyond the Call of Duty there.
Yeah, no, that's how I live.
Tough call.
That's how I go.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, one of the best places to be is Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora in beautiful St. Pete Beach. It's the first new hotel built in decades, so that's a big point as well. You look at a lot of the competing inventory. It's older. It's less. You know, there's no vaulted ceilings in a lot of cases, and the Zamora is just brand new within the last year or two, I believe.
Yeah, it's funny. We're the first new building over in 20 years, and when they built the hotel, it was originally going to be condominiums. So that kind of works to the advantage of the guests because each room is huge. You go to a lot of these hotels on St. Pete Beach, the rooms are, you know, pretty small. But when you come to the Zamora, Brandon, as you can attest to, the rooms are large.
Absolutely. Beautiful views, not a bad view in the house, and you got the Intercoastal Waterway. You're looking at, the other side, you got the views of the Gulf. So it's a great place to be. And I want to thank Paul Romero, Director of Sales and Marketing for the Hotel Zamora, and also Paul James, who's the General Manager of the Castile restaurant. Got to check it out. And also you have a QB code as well for our listeners out there. They get a discount if they call up and book a room. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Brandon.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
Hey, my pleasure. Take care. We'll see you soon. All right. So the Hotel Zamora, beautiful St. Pete Beach, official hotel partner on the Consumer Quarterback Show. You got to check them out. And the restaurant is just amazing. Go check it out. It's, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And then you go up to the rooftop for the sunsets. You take in those beautiful sunsets, and just a great place to be. So when we come back, more from our expert contributors here in studio. Abraham Moussa, President, Total Title Solutions. MJ Martinez, Advantage PI, private investigation partner here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we're going to help you with also, we've got 10 things to do while on a staycation according to Forbes.com. Stay with us. Do not touch that dial. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Quarterback Show. Platinum MVP Realty in studio from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, Florida, helping you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. And giving a big shout out to Hula Bay, our official restaurant partner, right here in beautiful South Tampa, 5710 Tyson Avenue, just off of West Shore in South Tampa. Great restaurant. Go hang out. Waterfront ambiance, excellent food, wide variety on the menu, everything from salads to burgers, and lots of great seafood. And then you've got awesome sushi as well, the best sushi in all of Tampa Bay. The chef told me they fly it in fresh from Hawaii every 2 days. They ship it in, rather, the tuna fresh from Hawaii. So Hula Bay, our official restaurant partner on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa. Abraham Moussa to my right. To my left, MJ Martinez, private investigation. Let's go ahead and bring MJ into the conversation now. So, MJ, what are you seeing out there in your space?
Wow, it's been a interesting 2 weeks, but had a lot going on across the gamut. From keeping in with the vein of what we're talking about today with the real estate transactions and whatnot, I've had some clients contact me for assistance in locating heirs to properties that they were interested in investing in.
Right.
I've done this in the past as well. I go out, make a field visit, contact the heir, see where their positioning is at. You find out, you learn all kind of new information. When the investor was interested in this property in another state, they contacted me. So they said this person lives in the Brandon area.
Right.
Reached out, located them. The heir told me, well, the property is actually has multiple heirs, as many as 10 family members.
Oh, wow.
Who have an interest in the property. So that makes a big, kind of a chink in the armor.
Complicates it a little bit.
Yeah. So the person that I spoke with said that they were, the property was up for auction in short time. So they said that they were just willing to let the property go because none of the heirs could come together to terms. And so, as an investor, you have to look at what's it worth to go forward and try to get this property. So,
right, yeah, because you're looking at an overall, hey, what are my dollars in, dollars out? What's my return on this investment? How long? Look at time value of money. A lot of times, depending on when you're going to close on it, you're going to close on it, then figure out those issues. You seeing some of that in your side?
Absolutely. It's a rather complicated process, and when there is more than one or two heirs, and it complicates the deal. Furthermore, we've had some cases where the heirs are out of the country. They're not even in the country anymore, and you can't simply just say, I'm going to sell that property. I mean, there's a lot of legal document that we have to document to be able to have the right to sell that property.
Right.
So
absolutely, yeah.
If you don't have the time, it's hard.
Right. It was interesting. This heir that I came in contact with said that he collectively, several of the heirs were interested in going to the auction and independently try to buy the property back, but they had sought advice from an attorney who told them, no matter what, on down the line, these other heirs are still going to have an interest in the property, regardless of the auction or not. So
yeah,
that pretty much made their mind up right there to wash their hands of the.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough situation. I just had the one I referenced in the first segment. We talked about that with we had to send out letters to all of the nieces and nephews and grandkids, and there was a big group of people that had to sign affidavits and send it back. Nope, we're not claiming that this property was given to us because. So it gets into a long story,
right.
and it becomes, from a cash flow perspective. So that was you in a capacity of a private investigator working with someone looking to invest in real estate.
Yes, absolutely. I've done it for first and second mortgage companies when they're trying to reach out to individuals at properties who may be in some sort of payment issue or whatnot. We may go out there, find out that the property's been vacated. We'll talk to neighbors, find out, if they know anything, if they know where the person went to, or we'll make the extra effort and try to find them to see if it's abandoned or whatnot.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times those are good leads. Those are good leads for realtors and title companies. You know, that grass has grown up. You're trying to locate the owner, and sometimes they're kind of ghost inventory is what they refer as. It's not technically owned by the homeowner still. It's in the process of being picked up by a portfolio bank or something. You've seen those.
So it's in the limbo. Yes, there is a lot of these properties that are just sitting on the sideline. That they are in the limbo. So some of them are the ownership is in question. Who owns it? Is it really the homeowner, the lender, or the investor?
Right.
I mean, so there is a lot of those. But ironically, from today, as I never thought a private investigator and I could actually work together until today. That's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Really. Because we have to investigate. We have to take ads and call people.
Sure.
We're just gonna call you now. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
did you find that guy in Germany?
Yeah, I have a network throughout the world. I've people in France, Germany, Korea,
nice.
China, you name it.
We've had an incident about back to the satisfaction. Literally, there was a lender that went out of business, and we needed that satisfaction site. It took us 18 months, but we finally tracked somebody somewhere in Oklahoma that used to work for the bank and happened to answer our phone call. She said, "Yeah, I'll sign this off for you." We're like, it took forever, so now we're just calling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. You said, the homeowner, so the private individual or homeowner. And then you have, maybe it's the bank, it's the mortgage, the mortgagee, or then there's an investor piece. That's the piece that people don't realize that, whenever we bundle these up, we have them on a secondary market. They're sold as mortgage-backed securities, MBSs. If you've seen those movies, Too Big to Fail, different types of movies, you can kind of get some insights into that. But yeah, so that's interesting when you look at where is the real estate, the grass is growing up, who's responsible for this grass, the boarding the pools. That was a company I used to own. We'd go in and cut the grass, change the locks, board the pools over, and make sure kids don't fall in. And so it's complex sometimes when it comes to real estate.
So Brandon, in your capacity as the quarterback for consumers, it's really the advice should always be just don't do it by yourself. It is a rather complicated process, and a lot of people are taken into that process. I'll take this back. Not a lot of people, but some people does get hurt into the process if they don't do the right thing. Even 10 years from now, see, that's where they forget about it because you bought it, you're in, but 10 years from now, it might come back to haunt you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, both your business life and your personal life.
Yep.
I see both ends of it.
Yeah.
People didn't do their homework.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Abraham Moussa, Total Title Solutions, as well as MJ Martinez. He's a private investigation partner here on the Quarterback Show, expert contributor in that space. So what else are you seeing out there, MJ?
As I said, we're kind of a do-it-all, triage, you name it, we do it. I had a case this week it was last week, but unfortunately a female was involved in a relationship. A domestic violence issue occurred, and her mother had contacted me earlier on and was concerned because she knew things were escalating as the case unfolded. There was an altercation between the female and her boyfriend, and she needed to be removed from that situation. We were able to actually provide security services, transport her and her property to another city, completely undercover within 24 hours.
Wow. And
put her in a safer environment.
Yeah.
So I have the network, I have the resources, I had everything in place to get it done, and she's in a much better place at this point.
Yeah, that's crucial. So they had some kind of indication, hey, there's potential for domestic violence. There's a relationship that's not healthy. They contacted you, and you were kind of waiting in the wings.
Correct. Yeah, unfortunately we were there. I mean, there's some things happened, but she was okay. Sheriffs and deputies were involved. We were able to kind of coordinate what we needed to do and made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to save our hotline because at some point you may need it as well. It's 813-670-7372. It's 670-REQB, and that's our hotline. So save that number in your phone. If anything comes up, we've got over 80 different show categories that we help you with. Consumer advocate content, pure content. It's all about helping you win, helping you understand these different types of buying decisions, these different types of situations that you may find yourself in. Going back to the real estate example, you may show up one day and have something on your door. It may not be anything you did. Maybe you're paying current to the rent, to the landlord, but maybe that landlord's not paying the mortgage. There's all these different types of situations that come up, and that's why we set this show up 4 years ago as a consumer advocate-based program, and consumerqb.com is our website as well. You can submit the form there at consumerqb.com. We want to help you win in any marketplace, and so MJ, that's an interesting story, and I'm sure you've got some others with the corporate side of things as well. You talk about a lot of business owners out there wanting to track where their their assets are too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have fleet vehicles, sales reps that are driving company vehicles, furniture delivery people that move property for companies back and forth, we provide services to make sure they're accountable for their time that they're being paid for.
Yeah.
So we do all types of methods of that: electronic surveillance, physical surveillance, all kinds of.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, good stuff. We'll talk more about that in the next side. We're also going to bring Abraham Moussa back into the conversation a little bit more, talk more about some of the title side of things, real estate, maybe trends where we see things going. I'm going to ask MJ about his most unique case he's ever handled, and we're going to talk about give a big shout out to the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. 24-hour, 100% satisfaction guaranteed by the Maids Cleaning Service. They are referred for a reason. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, published author. Check out our book on Amazon. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. And we can also teach you how to start your own podcast. A lot of great content in here. Check it out on Amazon.com. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. And we want to remind you to save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you may need it. 813-670-7372. 670-REQB. That's our hotline. Also, our website is consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, and we want to help you win. And we got a couple of hot listings. This one's compliments of Mary Cuffle with Platinum MVP Realty, 900 Raphael Boulevard, Northeast, St. Petersburg. It's in Eden Shores. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath property, $450,000, just under 20 days here on the market at 1,582 square feet. Beautiful property, waterfront opportunity here in the Schnell Isle area, as well as Rue de Lacs. It's a vacant land in a very nice subdivision here, Chateau de Lacs, and it's a $299,000 opportunity for a 1.13 acre property and building around multi-million-dollar properties here. If you're building, attention builders, developers out there, we just reduced this one down to $299 from a previous list price of above $325,000, I believe. So back here in studio, live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, Florida, and it's Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me. Abraham Moussa, owner of Total Title Solutions, as well as Abe's Place, got a restaurant over there in beautiful Clearwater, as well as MJ Martinez, private investigation expert contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So before the break, we gave the tease out. Let's ask MJ, what is the most unique case you've ever handled?
Gosh, that is a loaded question. I mean, obviously, the domestic cases are the ones that get the, the splash.
Right.
They're the most interesting cases. They're all, I do so many, from criminal cases to corporate cases, undercover cases. It's hard to pick just one. I have domestic cases that are, very interesting. I've had one in particular. I mean, where a prominent, let's just say a prominent businessman and his spouse were involved. Come to find out, his spouse was involved with another prominent person in the community.
Wow!
And a lot of the activity was occurring at the residence, the private residence, while the one prominent person was away.
Okay.
Sometimes it would happen at the prominent person's business location too, so it began
Somebody was having fun.
Fatal
right? Who's got time for this? I don't know.
Fatal attraction there. Oh man.
Needless to say, as the evidence was being captured, the case went our way. We captured the evidence that we needed to get. It was rather sultry and erotic.
Nice. Okay.
Can I ask you a question on that one, though?
Yeah.
But why does someone feel the need to do so? Why does someone feel the need to hire you? Why can't you just walk away?
In these types of cases, here's the issue. When you have two kings, so to speak, the money's not so much the issue. It's the reputation and their ego.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot at stake. So when it's about leverage. So sometimes it doesn't matter what's in court. I mean, I can tell you in this case, my client cut his spouse a check for $1.2 million and thought it was a deal. So
wow,
that was the deal. And what was even more funny was at the settlement time, the check was lost at the courthouse. It was a bailiff found it somewhere under.
Oh man.
Okay, that's interesting.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
So yeah, when you got money to throw around like that, it makes it interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Abe, question for you here. So you're a serial entrepreneur. You've got a restaurant. You've got title companies doing different things in real estate. What was your first interest? What was your first love? Was it more title? Was it business in general? Was it real estate or the restaurant rather?
Actually, my first thing that I've ever done was buying a house in St. Pete. This is 20 some years ago. Buying a house in St. Pete, fix it. Then we flipped it to some people that want to buy it. Did not have the money to get a loan. I financed the mortgage for them and turned around and sold the mortgage, and I thought I was Donald Trump.
Nice.
I really was. It was the greatest feeling. But then I went into the restaurant business, and that was my start where I made my money, and then I'm back into the real estate again.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Awesome, man.
I do hold a lot of love for the restaurant industry. It taught us a lot. It taught us deadline, customer service, patient, diligence, friendly, everything.
Logistics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the restaurant. Everybody should work in a restaurant business. It's an institution. We learned a lot in that.
Yeah.
I know my first job was in a restaurant. Yeah, I learned a lot.
Because, I mean, you get some insult hurled at you by, how hard is it to flip a burger? It is. You know, if you want to eat it safe, it is. It's pretty. There's a lot of logistic, as you stated, that to get that from raw state to your table. If you don't do your job, somebody will get sick. Somebody will get hurt. So it is actually a big responsibility to serve the public.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
To be successful for many years, it's. You know, that's the key.
The
if
longevity.
You can do it. Yeah.
We've all heard the statistics of businesses that fail the first year, the first 5 years, the first 10 years. And then you look at, all the logistics that go into running a restaurant. The food's got to be shipped. It's got to be stored. You got to bring it out, thaw it out, or, if it's frozen. And then you get into the different types of, the front end, the back end. There's lots of different things. So it's
think about it. Every customer that walks in the door is a deadline you got to meet, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And in our capacity, we're serving about 24,000 meals a month. That's 24,000 deadlines you got to meet. So believe me, taking that experience and taking it to the title world and other businesses that I have, I took that from the restaurant. It taught us a lot.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Same, similar is when I grew up working with my dad in the preservation business. We had deadlines. Jobs had to be done in a certain amount of time. I remember back in the day, it's kind of funny. We do the Polaroids, shaking the Polaroids out there. You had to prove to the bank that you did the work. You're doing the before and after pictures, and so that the hard work of. And back then we didn't have these GPSs, all these. We had to pull out the map and literally map it out. Hey, here's where you're going to go, and you're going to go do a recut here. Now you're going to go and clean this house out, do a full, clean out, board the pool. So that's hard work. You talk about doing that in June, July, and August down in Fort Myers area, and that's hard work. That's difficult.
Wow. So that job existed long time ago. I didn't know this job existed till the bubble burst. I had no idea this.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because people were still bankrupt or divorced and, going through that type of thing. So, yeah, that was back in the, what would that have been, in the 90s, late 80s, 80s and 90s. But, yeah, and we grew up there working it. And that's where you get, like you said, MJ, you were in the restaurant industry. Abe, you cut your teeth through that industry. And so we all have a little different, unique set of skills when it comes down to it, but when you look at it, it's all about hard work, dedication, learning the hard knocks. You take the lumps and you learn it and you keep growing.
Yep, absolutely.
It's like you said earlier, the must do instead of wishing to do. It's the must do.
That's right.
From your earlier conversation, yeah.
A lot of that I learned. A lot of that work ethic I learned from the restaurant business. Just the success and failure of work.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, turning the shoulds into must, and so many people are out there shoulding all over themselves, as the joke Tony Robbins says, But turning shoulds into must, and that's what it happens. That's what makes you successful, and ultimately, and what we talk about as well, a lot about on the show, is the ability to take a negative and get over it fast. As long as you have that negative looming, it could potentially derail your whole day. But you don't let that happen. What you do is you snap yourself back and you get back into that beautiful mindset, the state, that peak state that Robbins talks about, is managing that peak state. So if you walk into a business meeting and you're in a negative mood, you're going to be negative. If you come in with the positivity and you're in that peak state, things are going to happen for you. You're going to attract positivity, happiness into your life. So let's go around the horn now and go ahead and get our lightning round. So top tips, things to do, things to avoid. Abraham, you're up first.
It's not a tip, but I'll just make a statement. We've all been successful at doing our businesses, but I do have to admit to one thing, that business today is a lot tougher than 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And for one simple reason only, it's social media. The accessibility to social media has changed the way we work. It really truly does. And if you ignore that fact, you're always going to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. MJ?
As we are Tampa Bay's private investigation firm. We are also based in Miami in South Florida as well. We've been doing work there all along, but we've established an office location down there, have contacts and investigators that are down in that area. So we are spreading out and kind of zoning out Florida to cover more ground. So
nice.
We actually had a restaurant down there that we were doing some work for. The managers were stealing from the petty cash significant amounts of money. And we were able to identify a lot of that activity and brought it up almost to criminal charges. So
awesome. Hey, check out the consumerqbshow.com, consumerqb.com. All of our expert contributors. Go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food, take it to some homeless people, buy a lunch for a sheriff deputy or a cop, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show right here on iHeartRadio. And please check out realestateradiotampa.com to buy or sell real estate and see all of his expert contributors. Thank you.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word value to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.